This is the Infinite Podcast with me, Ulf Tender Fritti.
And me, Øystein Rabbe.
We're philosophers exploring the great unknowns of the outside and the inside.
And we're,
seeking to find the truth.
Yes.
Sharing it with you guys, our listeners and girls.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes.
Sorry, I took it from you.
It's okay. I still love you.
Love you too. This episode, we talk about Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Very briefly, because it's this first part, which is going to be, I think...
it's more like a background.
Yeah.
There's going to be a second part.
I think
probably a third.
Yeah, there's probably going to be like 5 episodes, I think, about this one.
Yeah, that seems appropriate.
So this is the first one, and just dig into it.
Enjoy.
So what's new?
Well, I guess what is new? There's a lot of things that's new. Things have changed quite a bit recently. We're in something in the there's just changes in the air.
Yeah. Again.
I guess it's always there. But so, we can talk about my Ayahuasca trip.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that.
That's going to take more time than we have right now. But this is the first episode of the journey of many parts. So yeah, let's do that.
Well, so a couple of weeks ago, I was on a Ayahuasca retreat with this Colombian shaman, Taita. I've forgotten the rest of his name. But it was, for those of you who don't know what Ayahuasca is, it's a plant medicine. It's from this area, from the jungles of South America. It's made from these roots from 2 different plants. You boil them and it will create la medicina, they call it. And they've been, the native South Americans have been making this medicine for thousands of years. Using it to heal, I guess, most everything. Now in Western culture, Ayahuasca has sort of popped up in recent years, and people will go to, I guess, primarily Peru or neighboring South American countries to go to retreats where they then drink this brew and have profound life-changing experiences, coming back never quite the same.
Yeah, it's hard to explain what actually happens, what it actually does. But yeah, how would you describe, if in general you would put words to what, not what it does in the sense that it changes you, but how does it change you?
Well, so I went on Ayahuasca retreat with you a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That was my first time, and beforehand I'd heard what it does to you physically. It tends to make you vomit, make you nauseous and sick, and that was when someone told me about it years ago. I was like, why would you want to get unwell? That doesn't seem very profitable for you or for anyone. but it's a hallucinogenic compound to this. I don't remember what the chemical is called.
Me neither.
Look it up. DMT. The dimethamphetamine, something like that. DMT.
Which is actually something you naturally have in your brain already.
Yes, everybody produces DMT naturally in the body, and every night when you go to sleep, the body will, give you a little some of that DMT to put you into that sweet dream state. It's also claimed or said, or maybe it's a fact, that when you die, the body will release all its stored up DMT, thus making the journey of ayahuasca quite similar to the journey of actually dying. This, because when people die, they tend to not come back, is not that easy to scientifically work at, but from having taken ayahuasca, I would say yes, that seems very much to be the case. So, well, I said like physically it can make you sick, or like vomit, shit yourselves.
Yeah, but it's
Both.
like those kind of things are kind of, symptoms of cleansing, I would say. If I didn't know better, I would say that's
the purge.
Yeah,
because it's just purging the system. So yes, it's a cleansing mechanism. It's.
I remember the first time I heard about ayahuasca. There was a friend of mine. She was talking about the experience she had, and she told me people were puking.
Yeah,
and I just, in that moment, I just knew I have to do this because I recognized there is something to it, the cleansing part of.
I guess everyone who's ever puked knows that there is something very. What's it called? A catharsis, like you're like a release.
Yeah,
puking.
It's not very fun right before. It's not really that fun while it happens as well. but it's also like I remember because it's actually quite a, I don't know, 1.5 years ago I was really, really sick. Like I had a diarrhea and I was throwing up, and it lasted for over 24 hours. I was not taking ayahuasca at that time, but I recognized the different phases, in a way that you go through.
There is some surrender to this.
There is the moments before you throw up. It's not very fun at all because you feel so sick, and it's like you want to resist the whole thing, but you also know you can't, in a way.
Yeah.
But there is a moment there when you just surrender to it, and it's like when it's not your willpower that tries to throw up or tries to hold back, but it's actually your whole body that just, the Norwegian word will be vrenge, like
turn inside out.
Inside out. It's coming from like, I mean, remembering from ayahuasca also, like the deepest throw up is like you can feel it, like you ball tingling because it's coming from underneath you in a way that the whole body just and it's actually, it sounds terrible, but it's actually an amazing experience when it just, not in the beginning, but when it comes through the surrender, like, because you just let everything, all that old crap just out of the system.
Yeah, a cleanse.
Yeah, a cleanse.
But
so not to scare anyone, but it's
yeah, because that when I heard about it first, I was, I'm never gonna do that. Why would I? Why would I do something like that to myself? But I think I would recommend everyone to actually reflect upon, would I do this? And if the answer is yes, to actually check it out.
Yeah.
Now I feel recommend it before we even talk about what the journey of ayahuasca. But so ayahuasca, because it's a psychedelic drug, will give you quite the psychedelic trip to begin with. You get the fractals, and you get the shapes, and you get the colors, and you get all that cool hippie stuff.
Not necessarily, though. It can be different
not
for
necessarily.
everyone.
It's very different, but
it's very often in the beginning, I think, if you have the expectation that going on a trip means you're going to get all that.
Yeah, then you'll get all that. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but also you might not get it, and you think it doesn't work because you don't get the visual stuff. But it's, the visual stuff is not the point of it.
No.
But
it feels sort of like a preparation phase.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'd say what you'll get is the opportunity to connect directly with Source. You'll journey inside of yourself to the depths of your being, and you will, get to see what's really inside there. And you'll also get to look at all the stuff you've been hiding from yourself.
Yeah.
All the, quote, bad stuff. That might be quite overwhelming or scary, or, because you've been hiding it for so long. You might have forgotten that it's there. But at the base of it all, there is love. And Mother Ayahuasca is a very gentle, loving guide to Source. And in my experience, if you trust it and you surrender, there is nothing but insights and pure joy. Of course, with a hint of horror and trauma, but what just as life itself. But
how would you describe that surrendering phase? Because it is easy to think that you can take ayahuasca just to get something, just to I have to take ayahuasca to fix something. Yeah. And think that if you just drink it will kind of come to you, But I would say that's not how it works. Because
I think it works more like, if you go to school to take a class.
Yeah.
You can't go to school and take a class and then expect you to decide what the class is going to be about. You saw like the sign on the door which said like math. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to take math. But it's the teacher who's going to teach you the math that you need to learn.
Yeah.
Now, if you're ready to open up and actually accept the teacher's teachings, you will learn something. But if you're like, this is not the type of math I was looking for, then I guess either you set the wrong intention for your school trip or your ayahuasca trip. But at the same time, you can but this, of course, is my experience. But what you're doing, what you're working with in the ayahuasca trip, is what you need to be working at right then and there.
Yeah.
So even though, like, some will experience very little on, like, they maybe just feel a little nauseous and nothing seems to be happening. Well, that's what you need to experience at that point in time. But I think, and then we're, of course, again, back to, like, in my experience, if you're willing to surrender and trust that ayahuasca is good, it comes out of love. It's a safe, loving medicine for your soul, and you're willing to go to whatever classroom ayahuasca is taking you, you're gonna learn some amazing stuff about yourself and your connection with everything else, aka Source, or God, or.
Every time we talk about ayahuasca, which is not that often, but lately has been often since you just had the experience.
Yes.
But every time we talk about it, some different kind of memory of being on a trip comes to mind, and it both kind of scares me a bit to realize, oh shit, I've been there, you know. If I go back, will I come to the same place again, and it will still be scary? Or but also it reminds me of the beautiful moments, the moments of just surrender, and you mentioned Mother Ayahuasca, and to me that really means I remember the first time I had the experience. What I told people was that what you actually get is the mother love that you never received as a child, in a way. That it's the first time you really can get the attention and the being taken care of, in a way. At least for me, it was the first time I felt in this life I have had that experience. Not because my mother is bad or anyone in my family is bad, just because it hasn't been available in my history and my timeline.
I guess your mother or any human would typically be very much involved in protecting their ego, and have stuff they need to work through. And even though they were loving parents, they will not. It's not easy to like unconditionally love someone. For me, ayahuasca is a feminine, like a very loving and soft, power or energy, or teacher. Very sensual, very it's very very pleasant stuff. Even though obviously you will be confronted with it's very loving, but it's the tough love kind of thing. The tough love kind of thing.
It doesn't have if you sign up for the class, it doesn't have the patience for you to just, oh no, not yet, I'll do it later, you know. To some extent it has, because you are still even though you kind of forget that, but you're still actually in control. At least I believe so. But it's like, if you sign up for the class, you have to go through. You know,
you have to take the class. And
it can also come down to this kind of repetition where you, in my experience, where I've been brought into the classroom, so to speak, which can also be a kind of unconscious phase where I just disappear into something, and I realize a lot of things are going on, and I try different parts of my mind is being like restructured and things like that, and then it's like the plant is helping me to bring this back into my body, and the way I react will determine if I'm ready to actually integrate it or not. Like, especially the first times I've done it. I haven't done it since we did it, which is like 2.5 years ago, I think, or 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. But I have done it a few times before that, and I remember in the beginning it was always this same thing that I'm being taken out to a classroom, being taught a lot of things, and being invited to look at my stuff, and then the plant is guiding me back into the body, and if I'm ready to integrate it, that will actually feel really good. It will be a breakthrough, like, okay, I'm able and willing to be in this body as a new or a richer self, in a way. If I'm not ready, it will be hell on earth, because it will be so incredibly hard and painful to being pushed into the body when I'm not able to hold the space, because I haven't learned a lesson, in a way. I haven't been able to release it. And then I go on a new round into the classroom again, and and that's how it continues to work in a loop in a way. So that's been one of the pattern I recognized after doing it a few times. That, at least for me, I can't say that's how it works for other people, but for me that has been one of the patterns that I've seen, that there are different phases. And one of the really beautiful things that ayahuasca has helped me with is also to recognize how the same kind of patterns that you go through in an ayahuasca session, it's the mechanisms and the different phases and the sequences are exactly the same in life. So it's also a great teacher to allow you to realize how the patterns of integration and patterns of experience actually works, and which order things are being presented in your life, and I remember also it has been easier for me to realize when I am going in a loop in my life, because I have recognized what it means to be in a loop again and again and again in a ayahuasca session.
It sort of, I guess, makes you very aware of the circular patterns in your life, in nature, in everything, and how everything is in cycles, and how once you've done a cycle, there is this moment where you can sort of choose to grow or repeat the cycle.
Yeah.
And repeating the cycle might be painful because you've already done it before. But you might have to repeat it a couple of times before you sort of get the point, which and while you were talking, I was thinking about this. In a sense, ayahuasca puts you in connection with your soul. So you're walking around in your meat body, and you're convinced you're your ego, and then you take this medicine, it's connecting you directly to something so much larger than yourself, your soul, which again is sort of connected to source. So you sort of I guess you're entering your soul space, and that might be hard, and there might be some sort of conflict between ego and your soul, because the soul belongs in your body as well, right? Because it's your vessel, but because the ego has sort of been running the show for so long, the soul has been sort of pushed out into the nothingness, and I guess what it feels like is that like taking the soul back might be painful when it's happening.
Yeah.
But the benefits are in like beyond your imagination, because that is the good place. That is where the love is.
Yeah.
The unconditional love. So yes, when we did it, I did one session, which is, you typically take it at like 11 p.m. and then it's like an 8-hour session, which is, well, at night. You'd typically be on a mattress on the floor, together with a lot of other people doing the same type of work. As we'd say, collective, but at the same time individual journey, and the shaman will be there to guide you. And for me, at least, and my recommendation is like, have faith in the shaman, like trust the shaman, and if you don't trust the shaman, I don't think you should do the thing, because he is there for you. He is there for you all the way. He's watching you, and actually all the people on the retreat are actually looking out for each other, which is also quite impressive, like how people who never met will tend to each other's need, help each other, be there for each other, comfort each other, and well, it's such an abundance of love in this situation, and people will be, well, puking crying.
Yeah. But it's like
screaming in joy. And like, but it's surrendering to it, like with so many things. Well, most things is key. And then you wake up in the morning and integration time. Yeah. So the first time I did 1 session, this time I was going to do 3. So it's 3 nights in a row. I did 2. Because after the second one, I was where I needed to be, and there was nothing left for me to learn right then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm never going to do ayahuasca again, because that's absurd to say you're never going to do something ever again.
Yeah.
But right now, I learned and found the things that I needed to find. We'll speak about this in another episode.
Yeah.
What Ulf actually found.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that
about
episode.
himself and the cosmos and everything.
But it's like, I think there is, it is an important point to make that, just like you did, you ended up doing 2, not 3.
Yeah.
Because you were connected to your own knowing that, this is what I need right now. Now I need to go back into the world and integrate this and use it and be it. And I guess I speak about this because I want to point out this whole thing that ayahuasca, like many other psychedelics or drugs or whatever, that this idea of addiction or misusing it, that if you're actually using these kind of medicines the way they're supposed to be used, with a shaman or with a guide or with intention,
the ceremonial
with purpose, it is impossible to really do it the wrong way, so to speak, in the sense that because the plant will actually teach you to be true to yourself. That's the whole point. So you can't, miss the mark if you're actually using it for that purpose.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And I think I need to go home now because we have to end this episode.
No, this is the perfect spot.
But I'm looking forward to part 2 of this conversation with you, because I've heard rumors that you found some good stuff.
Yes, I'm gonna just tease. I found a soul brother that I'd never met, but who'd always been there for me.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Next episode.
Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the Infinite Podcast with
Ulf Tønderflytter
and me, Øystein Rabbe.
Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah. And or on Facebook or
follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And also we've now made a Patreon account.
Yes.
So if you like this podcast and would like to support us, go to Patreon and check out our Infinite Podcast site there. Your support would
would
really
make it
appreciate
possible for us to make more podcasts. It takes a lot of time. We enjoy it so much to do it, but we also have regular jobs to pay the bills, and our dream is to be able to do this full time.
This is our full time.
And
this
we're taking
will be our full time
baby steps towards that dream, and we want to make more episodes and continue to share it with you. So that would be great. Actually, I realized when we talk about it, we haven't even explained what Patreon actually is. So
it's like a support site where you can support a business or
artist or
an artist or whatever
creator that makes something
with I guess like monthly donations. Could be like from $1 and upwards.
Yeah.
Right? So anything would be great. We would be so thankful. And
Absolutely.
you would be thankful because we're doing this for you.
Yeah, and it actually gives it's a good feeling sometimes to actually help the things you care about. So if you're listening to us and you care about us, but I mean seriously, it's a good thing to contribute to the things that matters to you. So
that will
we're
help
not
them grow.
asking you to pay unless you actually want to see this podcast grow and unfold into what it's about to become.
Infinite greatness.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.